Hello everyone, I am Ivy Corvus, and this is a video that I've wanted to do for a long time. I want to talk about what to do when you are totally bored with your magical practice. As a side note, it's 1,000 degrees in my house right now and I do not have air conditioning, so if you see me sweating throughout this video, that's why. But the reason why I wanted to make this video is because this is something that I run into quite a bit. Hello Mars and Gemini, I get bored very, very easily. I need to be constantly intellectually stimulated, otherwise I'm bored, I need to move on. And so when I get good at something, I am no longer intellectually stimulated to the level that I like to be stimulated, and so I have to completely switch gears and learn something else. That's why I'm so drawn to chaos magic. But we're going to be talking about all things in the occult community. This video can apply to anyone. It doesn't matter if you're a witch, a shamanic practitioner, a ceremonial magician, it does not matter. I'm going to give you tons of little tips and tricks in this video to kind of help you fight that boredom and just reinvigorate yourself, get some inspiring thoughts going, get some creativity going. Also, the last suggestion that I have for you is my absolute favorite, so definitely stay tuned for that one. So the first tip that I have for you if you are totally bored with your magical practice is to get inspiration from pop culture. This is something I do a lot as a chaos magician, and this can show up in a bunch of different ways. You can be just watching a new movie or a TV show that's fantasy related that has magic in it. I have literally taken spells from movies and TV shows that I like and then brought them into my magical practice, tweaked them a little bit for what I wanted them to do, but I have gained a lot of inspiration just by watching pop culture media. But it's not just TV shows and movies. You can get inspiration from music, from board games, from video games. So when I'm feeling really bored and uninspired with my magical practice, sometimes I just don't do magic at all and I go play some sort of fantasy themed open world RPG video game where I get to just cast these really cool spells and get some inspiration for maybe how I want to incorporate some sort of beast mode into my regular life. And sometimes there will be quests that can give you inspiration as well. If you are into D&D or if you're into those open world RPGs, doesn't even have to be open world to have quests, but quests can give you inspiration. The story, the narrative of the video game can give you inspiration. And I'd like to add, so I play D&D, I'm in a campaign and we play every Sunday, and I love Dungeons and Dragons, okay? I meet with my fellow nerds and we get to play together and it's a great time. And I've created this character that I'm using in my spell work. So I'm not gonna go too deep into this in this video. Maybe I'll talk about D&D and chaos magic in another video. Let me know if that's something that you're interested in. But you can literally create a character for D&D or for your video game, or create a character in a short story that you're writing and have that character embody all of the traits that you personally want to possess or that are conducive to whatever spell work it is that you're trying to do. So if you are trying to get more energy and motivation because you're feeling really sluggish and lethargic, maybe pick a character that's like a barbarian or like a warrior type or something that just has a lot of energy and just feels like a push of energy. And as you play this character, you become that character and you are embodying all of that delicious motivation and warrior-like tendencies or whatever. So I've created this character in my Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and I've been doing a lot with that character. I created a sigil and a talisman for the character. I linked it to one of the gods that I'm working with, and every time my character kills something in battle in the game, that is a blood offering to the god that I'm working with in real life. And I use the talisman and the sigil to tether the two together. So you can really get abstract with video games, with just characters in any capacity. If you read fiction novels or whatever it is, you can gain character inspiration and build your own characters inside your mind and then pull those characters out for a spell or a ritual whenever you need to. Also, in video games or in board games or whatever, make your own game, you can create virtual altars and have your spell work happen in a virtual environment. You can create an altar inside your head if you want. You can create a whole world building thing inside your head and start decorating what that altar is going to look like, and then you go into that altar in your mind palace or in your video game every time you want to do some work. But yeah, TV shows, movies, fictional books, video games, board games, D&D, all of that stuff, everything pertaining to pop culture you can absolutely use as inspiration in your magical practice. Now, my second suggestion is a little bit more academic. I would like to suggest reading and researching a new magical tradition. So let's say you are an eclectic witch, you've always been practicing with a little bit of a folk magic flair. Maybe look into the different branches of ceremonial magic to see if you can take some of those ideas and use them as inspiration in your own magical practice. practice. So look up an Abramelin ritual, get into some planetary magic, look into the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, maybe look into Thelema or Enochian magic, maybe even some Solomonic magic, getting into angels and demons, and if that's not your vibe, maybe go the planetary magic route without angels, but whatever it is, research these other traditions. You don't necessarily have to practice it yourself, but it can give you inspiration for your own magical practice. And on the other end of things, if you are a ceremonial magician, maybe looking into folk magic traditions by region and really looking at how the people used to practice potentially hundreds of years ago. Look into some shamanic styles of practicing magic. And again, look at different regions and see what type of trance work they were doing or what sort of medicinal herbs that they were using. A more shamanic style trance work may help a ceremonial magician, bringing that element into their craft when maybe they wouldn't think that that's something they're interested in the first place. So reading and researching a brand new magical tradition that you are totally unfamiliar with can be really helpful. My third suggestion is to take a course. What are you interested in? You know, if there's tarot or astrology or whatever it is, look online and see if there's some sort of course that you can take to really deepen your practice. I know there are many times where I just felt super bored with what I was doing. I was doing the same thing over and over again with my tarot deck. I was using the same layout over and over, the same spreads, and I just got bored with it. It wasn't really inspiring to me. I don't know, I wasn't getting good energy from it. Take a course in tarot. Tarot and astrology, I feel like, are two things that it's endless. It is so endless. You can go so deep into both systems and still never know everything that there is to know. So even just looking at those two systems in general, and again, it could be anything in the occult community that you're interested in, you know, taking a course on. But taking a tarot course or an astrology course can deepen your existing practice and make it feel like it's new again, so that you're not just doing the same tarot spreads over and over again. You're not just looking at the same moon phase month after month. Okay, what are we going to do for the new moon? What are we doing for the full moon? You know, look at some Mars action, look at some Uranus and Neptune, and deep dive into your birth chart and figure out what your north node is and where you should go in life and your purpose and your destiny and all of that. There's always an opportunity to deep dive in these types of subjects. So take a course. If you're bored, stimulate your brain, learn something new. My fourth suggestion is to rearrange your spiritual space, your ritual space, your altar, wherever it is that you do some sort of spiritual work, rearrange it. Declutter, take things down, spritz some water with some essential oils in it or something, or use your Florida water, whatever you use to cleanse the space. Really physically clean everything and then energetically clean everything. Maybe do a smoke cleanse over it when you're done. Go through and polish everything or wipe off the dust of all of your tools. I know I am so guilty of not doing that, and when I feel like things are getting dusty in here, this is my spiritual space, by the way. This is my spiritual room, and it gets stagnant when I don't clean it. And so simply rearranging your ritual space or your altar can help reinvigorate or reignite that fire within you, because when things are clean in front of you, it's inspiring. I want to do magic when it's clean in here and when it smells good and I am reconnecting with all my tools again, because sometimes, I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes I forget what I have, and it really does take me sitting down and cleaning all of my altar tools and going through everything to remind myself, oh yeah, I have this really cool tool that I haven't been using in a while, or oh, I have this incense that I have not been burning, or maybe some spell candles that really ignite some creativity for you, and you say, ooh, I really want to use that blue candle. I forgot I had that shoved way back in a dresser drawer somewhere. That's me. I have a dresser in here to hold all of my spell work. It's weird. But simply rearranging and cleansing your space can really help with that boredom and feel like you've got some new life in your space again. My fifth suggestion is to learn about a new religion. And I'm gonna suggest this for a couple different reasons. Even if you are an atheist or an agnostic person, which was me, that was me. First of all, I think it's really helpful for us to understand different religions because we just have a better understanding of each other's perspectives and beliefs. And I think there's a lot more respect there when we take the time to learn about someone else's culture or someone else's religion and then really understand everything that goes into that. There's a lot of respect that we can have for one another and some common ground, some common understanding. So I think it's great for cultures to share with one another, to learn from each other, but also when it comes to religion, There's almost always some sort of esoteric component in every religion that I have personally came across. If you dig deep enough, you can find some sort of magical mysteries associated with every single worldwide religion. So dig deep, learn about different religions, and you might find that maybe something resonates with you and you didn't realize that it would resonate with you, or maybe it doesn't resonate, and that's okay, but you learned how other cultures operate or what they believe in, and you can potentially reframe your mindset a little bit. And this can also look like looking into different gods and goddesses. And again, if you are an atheist or an agnostic person, you can more look at them as psychological archetypes to tap into, or energies that you would like to embody. But learn about different gods and goddesses, learn about different religions and the esoteric components of those religions, because some of those rituals can give you inspiration for how to construct your own occult rituals. And if you're into ceremonial magic, I find that most ceremonial magic practices derive from some sort of religion or have some sort of religious component to them anyways. They were at least inspired by some sort of religion at some point. So you'll definitely run into a lot of stuff about angels and demons and working with different gods and whatnot. Push yourself to look into a religion that you've either never heard before or something that maybe you've been avoiding for a while, and that's something that would be really good for you to address. For example, if you have a lot of Christian trauma, which I find a lot of witches do, we spent most of our lives being forced into Christianity when we potentially maybe didn't want to be Christian, we didn't resonate with that religion, but there is esoteric components to Christianity as well. There are Christian witches, and most people would say, no, my trauma could never. My trauma will absolutely not allow me to look into Christianity whatsoever, and that's fine. Maybe you want to look at it in the angle of the Christian devil, maybe looking into that archetype a little bit more to look at the historical context of that, realizing that the word Satan and the devil himself doesn't even come from Christianity, and finding those ties to other religions, and really looking at the Christian devil versus the witch's devil, because those two entities are so different. The next tip I have for you is to release with movement. Move your body. Physically get up and move your body. Dance. Throw on some shamanic drumming, or if you have some other beats that you like to listen to, whatever it is. Maybe you have some fairy music that you like to put on with some beautiful harp playing in the background. I don't care. Get up and do some sort of movement with your body. Do some interpretive dancing, and you may feel silly in the beginning, but allow yourself to dance a little bit until you hit this point of slipping into an altered state of consciousness, and it's just you. Your conscious mind has turned off a little bit, and you are moving with your body and feeling everything. Movement is one of the best ways to get rid of blocked energy, because typically when we are feeling stagnant, when we're feeling bored, there is probably some sort of blockage somewhere in your body or somewhere within your energetic core, and it's good to move your body so that you can physically get that energetic block out of your body. If you don't like interpretive dancing, you don't have to do that. You can try different postures, you can try yoga, you can try mindfully stretching, whatever it looks like for you. You can even do a hardcore HIIT workout if you really want to. But try to set the stage so that it can be a spiritual experience for you when you're doing this movement. That way you can relate it back to your magical practice. My next suggestion is for you to try a completely different type of meditation. Meditation is already instrumental for an occult practice, and it can really help you broaden your abilities, broaden your perspective, but try a different type of meditation that you've never done before. So if you've never done a body scan before, try doing that. If you've never done a chakra meditation before, try doing one of those. Go on a shamanic journey. Get into some sort of altered state of consciousness. There are plenty of shamanic journeys, like guided ones on YouTube and other platforms, but go on an astral trip where you are somewhat leaving your mind and ending up in a forest or a bush, and then you are exploring through visualization. You can also take a sound bath, which can be a very meditative experience, especially for people that don't enjoy visualization. Sound baths are amazing, but play around with different altered states of consciousness. So try lucid dreaming, try astral projecting. I have two videos that I will link down below in the description box. I did a video a long time ago about how to start lucid dreaming. If you've never done that before, you can actually get yourself to do lucid dreaming on command, so you can explore your own mind with lucid dreaming. And with astral projection, I did a video, it was a collaboration with the North Switch, and we did the ins and outs of astral work and spirit flight. So I will link both of those videos down below if those are topics that you're interested in. But really playing around with different meditations meditations and different altered states of consciousness can really open you up to receiving different messages from your guides, whatever your guides are. It opens you up to divine inspiration. There have been times where I'll type in guided meditation into YouTube and I'll click on some random meditation that I've never done before, and I'll sit down and I'll do it, and then during the meditation it ends up being this incredible experience where I have some sort of divine message come in, and when I come out of that meditation I know instinctively what I should do. I feel creatively inspired and fulfilled, and I have some sort of direction that I want to go in from there, and it can totally take you by surprise. There have been tons of random meditations I've clicked on like that where I'm just feeling kind of blah, feeling kind of lame, and then I go through this meditation that someone did that happens to be phenomenal, and I end up meeting a new spirit guide that I never even realized was my spirit guide, or whatever. You get my point. Altered states of consciousness are so incredible and so powerful for helping you get that spark of creativity and inspiration back. The 8th suggestion I have for you is to try a completely new divination system. So there's a million for you to choose from. There is tarot, there are runes, scrying, tea leaf readings, pendulums, and within the scrying category there's even more ways that you can scry, because you can scry through a black mirror, you can scry through just simply a bowl of water, you can take a little ball, this is a little black obsidian scrying ball, or you could do a regular crystal ball too, I have one of those as well, and you can scry through something like this. You can also do candle wax scrying, so after a candle burns you can actually scry and look at the way that the wax has melted, try to get some answers there. A really fun form of divination that I like is candle wax scrying into a pool of water. So you essentially have this bowl of water and then you light a candle and you kind of go into a trance, you go into this altered state of consciousness, and you're just slowly letting the candle drip the candle wax into the bowl of water. So this candle is lit and you're just kind of like swirling it a little bit, going into that trance, and then allowing it to drop into that bowl of water, and the wax will immediately solidify once it hits the water, but it starts to take shape, and you can do scrying through the candle wax on top of this bowl of water. So that's something that I did with my coven once, and it was a really fun experience. Or maybe you want to create your own witches runes, or you want to create a brand new divination system from little items or trinkets that you have personally found. If you saw my video with Thoth, I ended up actually making my own glyph set. I created this whole new language of symbols and different meanings, and I painted them on rocks that I found at the river. So create your own divination set from your own subconscious mind, you know, whatever you want. Try oracle cards, that's another one I didn't even mention, but there's so many different ways to do divination, so explore a new system and see where that takes you. My next suggestion for you is to try a new creative project completely outside of your magical practice. Take a total and complete break from whatever you're doing in the occult world and go out and do something creative in the mundane world. Getting creative in general, it doesn't matter what you're doing, but just getting creative, it can reignite and re-spark up that inspiration. So go do some wood burning. If you've never tried wood burning before, it's super fun. Go build something or paint something or work with clay, make a sculpture. You can write short stories or sing, write poetry, you can play some sort of instrument, anything that engages that creative mind a little bit. I love singing, I really do. And when I'm feeling dead and uninspired in every other aspect of my life, I isolate myself in a room where no one can hear me, and I turn on my favorite songs and I sing the best that I've ever sang ever. It's so fun because I record myself and I play it back and I listen to it and I think I'm hot shit and I think I can maybe like go on American Idol or something. By the way, I will never sing for anyone ever in my real life. I will only sing alone in my own room. I think I have a decent voice, okay? Anyways, but even just singing alone in my room and recording like I'm in a recording studio and pretending I'm some sort of artist or whatever, it fulfills that creative aspect of me. I get to record my own voice and then I'll play a little bit on piano and put that to it, and now I have this wonderful, beautiful song, and now I'm a magic pop star, okay? Whatever your creative process looks like for you, no judgments. Do whatever you want. There's actually a ton of singing apps, by the way. If you're somebody that really likes singing like I do, there's these apps that you can sing on and whatever. I digress. You get my point. Do some sort of creative project. I think building something is really fun too. Just going out and building something for your room or your space outside. I have this current project that I'm kind of constructing. It's a gnome village for my backyard, and that is something where I really get to be creative and I get to figure out, okay, how am I going to construct these gnome doors? How am I going to do the bridges going from one tree to another in these tiny little tree houses? So yeah, take a break from your magical practice. Do something creative in other aspects of your life. My 10th suggestion is to go out in nature. And I'm suggesting this for so many different reasons. This is kind of like an umbrella suggestion for a lot of mini suggestions. So I think it's important first and foremost to just get familiar with the flora and fauna in our area, to learn about the different plant spirits and tree spirits that we can potentially work with in our magical practice. I think it's good to kind of tap into the land spirits, maybe start creating a relationship with them, learn about the folklore of your particular region where you're currently living, and see if there's something there that you can tap into. You can even find a perfect place in your backyard, or maybe there's like a forest next to your house or something where you can set up some sort of outdoor altar and start leaving offerings for the land spirits. So outdoor offerings or outdoor altars can be really beautiful. I just have a stump in my backyard that I just started leaving offerings on and doing outside rituals. And being outside when you're doing a ritual, it is so invigorating. It's so different than being in a stuffy room sometimes, because I love it in here. Don't get me wrong, I've made this room very aesthetically pleasing. However, sometimes I just need to get outside, touch some grass, put my feet on the ground and dance around a stump in my backyard. I literally did that a couple weeks ago where I did a fairy ritual and I wanted to invite a lot of different types of energies to my land. So I put an offering on my stump and then I just danced around the stump listening to fairy music because I could, and it was fun and it was a great ritual. I know people are going to comment immediately saying this. I know there are going to be some comments down below talking about how people shouldn't work with the fae, or they at least shouldn't be working with the fae unless they have done a lot of research. And I think that just as a general rule of thumb, if you're going to work with any spirits at all, you definitely need to do your research on those spirits first. So just putting a little disclaimer out there, you need to know who you're working with. Not all spirits are going to be kind and wonderful towards you, so definitely use a little bit of caution there. I'm not telling beginners to just go out in their backyard and try to invite the fae, as many fae as they can, onto their property, okay? But learn about your plant spirits, learn about your tree spirits, learn about your land spirits, and also just going outside and touching grass can really get rid of those energetic blockages as well. I just went on an earth walk this morning, which is kind of what I like to call it. I think a lot of people call it an earth walk, but it's basically a very mindful walk, a very mindful nature walk where you are using a little bit of visualization. Not always, not everyone enjoys visualization, but what I like to do is I visualize roots from my feet going deep into the earth's core. And as I'm on my walk, as I'm doing this nature walk, and I just live in a regular neighborhood, by the way, with a ton of houses. It's not some magical forest, so you can do this literally anywhere. I will walk through my neighborhood visualizing those roots connecting to the earth's core, and then I'm just kind of frolicking along. I'll put in some earbuds and listen to some music that really makes me feel magical, and then I will walk through my neighborhood looking at all the plants and all the trees. I will try to see the aura around the trees and see the tendrils that connect all the trees together, which to me it kind of looks like a silvery spider web, these energetic cords that connect all the plants together. So as I'm walking through, I visualize that, or I can be visualizing the plants down below, looking up at the sun, waving their leaves and saying hello. I feel like a total crazy person when I go on these walks, but I love it. It's so fun. I definitely recommend doing an earth walk at least once a week just to recalibrate yourself and reconnect yourself to nature. But yeah, it's just a very mindful walk where you are looking at the flora and fauna and really just being present in the moment. The last suggestion I have for you is to create some sort of rainbow ritual for yourself. This is one of my favorite things to do. So I'm going to switch the camera to my desk and actually show you one of the rainbow rituals that I have done in the past. So your rainbow healing ritual does not have to look anything similar to mine, but I recommend working with the colors of the rainbow because, well, for so many different reasons. The colors can relate to different energy centers in your body, and when we're feeling bored or stagnant, again, like I mentioned previously in the video, video, there's usually some sort of energetic blockage somewhere in the body when we're feeling a little bit stagnant. And so it's helpful to work with the colors of the rainbow to just reinvigorate everything. So I like to use the colors of the rainbow as they relate to different energy centers in the body. But again, you don't have to do this. You can do a completely different ritual that uses the colors of the rainbow in whatever fashion you want. So what I ended up doing, this is an old spell that I kept because I really, really like how it turned out. But I started with the root down here, which is the color red. And I took a red colored pencil and I wrote down a bunch of affirmations that pertain to the root chakra. And then afterwards, I took a red candle, put it on this center here, and let that candle fully burn down. You can kind of see a little bit of the wax left over. There's a little bit of wax on all of these here, but I burned a red candle and I meditated and visualized using a very, very small red candle, by the way, focusing on the color red, really bringing in that energy into my body. And then I did the same thing for every single energy center. So I wrote down the affirmations in the corresponding color. I meditated on the color, focused on bringing that energy in, let it burn down, and left some candle wax on the picture. And then I wrote down key words for all of these as well. So for the root, I have survival. For the sacral, I have sex. For the solar plexus, I have power. For the heart, I have love. I have truth. And then we have intuition and spirituality. And after working with all of these colors and really visualizing them and soaking them in, I mean, again, you could paint a picture using the 7 colors of the rainbow. You could paint your body. You can do whatever you want to do. I've even seen some people create mandalas or some sort of sacred geometry figure with these 7 different rainbow colors, and they'll put the center as either the purple or they'll put the center as the red, and they'll do this with maybe flowers or painted stones or whatever it is. So you could even go out in your backyard and paint a bunch of rocks certain colors. You have a couple rocks that are red, a couple rocks that are orange, yellow, green, blue, a darker blue, and then a purple or indigo, violet, whatever, and then arrange them in some sort of sacred geometrical pattern, and then do your rainbow ritual around that pattern. So again, lots of different ideas for this, but I love rainbow healing rituals. I think it's just so important to assess all points of the body. And if anybody's interested, I got these words of affirmation from my favorite book on chakras because a lot of it is misappropriated. So I really like Eastern Body, Western Mind. I'll put it up on the screen so you can see it, but these affirmations are from that book if you're interested. And those are all of my suggestions. I really hope that this video was helpful and inspiring for you. Definitely let me know in the comments below. I will see you all in another video soon. Bye everyone.